So, Namaskar, everybody. Welcome back to Vistara Circle. Welcome those of you on Facebook and YouTube. You are tuning in to our Monday night collective meditation here at Vistara Circle. And this week we are continuing a series on the chakras. Last week we discussed Muladhara Chakra, which is the first chakra. And tonight we're going to discuss Svadhistana Chakra, which is the second chakra. So, let's go ahead and get started then, talking about this. Let's do a little review from last time. Anybody have any takeaway from last time that they'd like to share? About the chakra journey, about the Muladhara Chakra?
Muladhara Chakra is where the Kundalini lives, and Dharma, Artha, Kama.
Okay, so the four vrittis, right?
Yeah.
Dharma, Artha, Kama. Excellent. And who remembers the last vritti of the Muladhara Chakra?
It was a new
Moksha. Moksha, exactly. Yes. Awesome. Okay, so thank you for mentioning that, because now we can review what is a vritti. So we kind of need to know that, because we're going to talk about that again today. So, as we said before, these chakras, last time we defined what it means. Chakra is a wheel, right? It means wheel, in Sanskrit. So these chakras, the way that they were visualized by the yogis thousands of years ago, is they visualized them as lotus flowers. And so each chakra has a particular number of petals. And in this case, the Svadhisthana Chakra, as you can see also, you'll be able to see an image here on the camera, it has 6 petals. Okay? It has 6 petals. And in each petal, there is a vritti. So what is a vritti? It is an emotional propensity. It is an instinct, basically. So what we said before is that these chakras, they are like clusters of emotions. Clusters of sort of like instincts that we carry, that we're wired with. And so you'll notice then a thread, like a commonality with each chakra, that the instincts are kind of match each other. Okay? So, for example, in Muladhara Chakra, those 4 vrittis that we talked about, they had a lot to do with desire. You know, physical desire, intellectual desire, spiritual desire, and then even dharma, like the desire to fulfill your purpose in life. So now we're at Svadhisthana Chakra, the second chakra. And the cluster of emotions here is actually, it starts to get a little less, what's the word? A little less, it's actually kind of dark. Okay? It's kind of dark. It matches actually water. This is the chakra of water. We'll talk about that in a moment. It kind of matches the idea of water, because although water flows and is very beautiful and fluid, water can also be scary. Water can also be dark, right? For example, if you're swimming in the ocean, it's great because you are enjoying the waves and you can swim and you can flow in the water, but there's a fear there because you don't know what's underneath. Have you ever gone to the ocean and you're afraid that there might be a shark that comes and bites you? Okay, well, okay, some people have that fear a lot. There's been some sightings of sharks recently. I think in North Carolina or something like that. So you see, yeah?
And South Carolina also has a lot of sharks.
San Diego?
Yeah.
Okay. So you see, so in a way, water has sort of like a dark side to it. And this chakra certainly has that. It kind of reveals some of our more darker sort of emotions. So we'll talk about that. But first, let's go over the basics, okay? So let's go ahead and go over the basics of this chakra. In other words, what color is the Svadhisthana Chakra? So the Svadhisthana Chakra is milky white. It is milky white. And what is its shape? It is the shape of a crescent moon. Okay, tonight is a full moon. So this is very appropriate when it comes to the Svadhisthana Chakra, because the full moon, it has an effect on water, right? When the moon is full, the water rises. And when the moon is full, it also makes the water and the liquids inside our body, like the gases inside of our body, also rise. So, which is why, for example, on full moons, they used to put more police on the street. They might still do that. Also, in hospitals, all the nurses could attest to there being more births. And so here we have a crescent moon, but it's very much connected to the Svadhistana Chakra, okay, the full moon and water. So that is the element. The element of the Svadhisthana Chakra is water, and its controlling factor is the liquid factor. So like we said before, all of these chakras control a certain factor that also exists in the universe. The Muladhara Chakra, does anybody remember what factor it controlled?
Solid.
The solid factor.
Earth?
Yes. So it was like the earth element, and it controlled the solid factor. So let's think really fast. What are all the solids inside of us? I mean, there's a lot, right? Our organs. Okay, our organs are solid. Our bones are solid.
Flesh.
Huh?
Flesh.
Flesh.
Say iron in our blood, sort of solid at a molecular level, almost.
Okay, all right. Now, so then, and there are solids in the universe, right? Like rocks, like people, like individual units, different animals. So that chakra controls that. The Svadhisthana Chakra controls the liquid factor. So, I mean, there's lots of liquids inside of us, right? In fact, we are like, 80-something%
Mostly
water?
water, yeah.
Mainly water, okay? We have water inside of us, we have blood, we have lymph, we have even reproductive liquids. So many liquids inside of us. And so this chakra controls those liquids. And so anything that has to do with those things in your body are controlled by the Svadhisthana Chakra. And if you strengthen this chakra, you will go ahead and also aid those aspects of yourself. So actually, let's hold that thought. Okay, we'll come back to that. Let's finish going over the main characteristics of the chakra. Then the root sound. All of these chakras have an individual root sound. And actually also each of the petals also has an acoustic root sound. But the sound for the whole chakra, for the Svadhisthana Chakra, is Vam. It's spelled V-A-M, but it's pronounced like lung, but with a V, so Vam. And why don't we go ahead and try to connect with our Svadhisthana Chakra right now by just, let's go ahead and close the eyes. And why don't you take your 5 fingers and put them underneath your belly. And then add 1 extra finger, so that you have 6 fingers going down the navel. It's a little difficult because we're seated, right? But we'll do our best. That is about where the Svadhisthana Chakra is located inside of you. Basically at the base of the urinary organ, or in between the ovaries for women. But another good factor is 6 fingers down. So let's visualize in that area inside of us. Now we can release the hands. A little crescent moon that is milky white. And let's try to connect with it by vibrating it, by saying its acoustic root together. So we'll go ahead and say Vang and let that resonate. And as we hear the resonance of that sound, imagine that it is kind of penetrating at the nucleus of the chakra, in the middle of it, and that it can vibrate it when we say the sound. So let's try that. Vang. Vang. And we'll do it one last time. This time again, get a nice visual of the chakra itself, and a visual of its nucleus. and we'll say the sound one last time in an effort to connect with it and vibrate. Vang. Did anybody feel any sensation down there at all?
Kind of.
Kind of? Okay. All right, so now the word Svadhisthana in Sanskrit means the seat of my own energy. The seat of my own energy. Okay? And let's put it into context once again before we talk about the individual vrittis and some of the other characteristics. There's kind of a lot to say about these chakras. Now, if we put it into context, remember we said that the spiritual life is a journey. And every day you can walk this journey by just going through your chakras. And the more advanced your meditation is, the more that you specifically work on the chakras in your meditation. So every day then, we can go through this journey, as I said, and it begins at the Muladhara chakra, and it will end at the Sahasrara chakra, 7th chakra. So in the beginning, when we are kind of lifting off, when the Kundalini, as we talked about before, is ready to lift off and rise from the Muladhara chakra, you know, it's like, it takes effort. It's like, boom, it kind of has to jump up, okay? It's kind of like you, maybe the first times that you decided to go to a meditation event or something. I know a lot of people that they say, oh, great, thank you so much for inviting me. Yeah, I'll be there Monday night, you know, or I'll be there whenever we have our meetings. But then I get a text from them, you know, in the middle of the week or right before, or the day before, and they say, yeah, you know what, something has come up and I don't think I'm going to be able to make it, or actually, I'm not feeling too well this evening and I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. And so, now of course, there might be something that came up, but what I noticed that happens is that it takes a lot of effort to want to come. It's not that easy. That person has to be very determined. The slightest thing will block them. Like one time I invited somebody to come, and that was the weekend of those white supremacist protests in DC. And they said, I'm kind of fearing for my safety, so I think I'm just going to stay home, and I'm not going to, you know, I won't be able to make it because of all this white supremacist stuff going on, so I'm just going to stay home that Sunday or something. And then, of course, we saw on the news that day that there was like 6 of them. But yet the media treated them like there was thousands of them, you know. Of course, that person didn't know that. But my point is that it takes a lot of effort, you know, to get on this path, to make the commitment to come to something like this. So I really honor you all for doing that. And the same thing with the Kundalini. It takes effort for it to rise. But once it does, then it's on a journey. It can flow. And so then, if the first part is, you know, kind of like beginning the journey and asking myself, what is my purpose? Because Dharma is in there. Then the second part of the journey is almost like going through a process of purification. So then this Svadhisthana Chakra, because it has also the element of water, we can say that it is almost like a baptism or a cleansing. When you decide to do meditation, you might go through some kind of, or you decide to be a more spiritual person, you might go through some type of cleansing, whether you realize it or not. Like, you might say to yourself, from now on, now that I'm meditating, some people do this, I think I'm going to eat less meat. Or now that I'm meditating, I think I'm going to, you know, maybe I'll go to a club less often or whatever. I mean, not that that's super bad, right? But
I mean, like, because the meditation, like, it doesn't really take coffee well, right? And like, yeah.
There are some foods that are rajasic. We call them rajasic, that they stimulate your mind a little too much. Like, one time I tried to meditate after coffee. Like, I really couldn't, you know. So even after chocolate, sometimes it can be a little difficult for me. So because chocolate is also an upper, you know, it's like coffee, it's like a stimulant.
Maybe some sugar too.
Yeah, sugar, yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely hard to meditate after a day of like stealing and pillaging.
Oh, right.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for bringing it back to that, Marco, because it's almost like we go through a cleansing process in one way or another. I'm meditating now. Now I want to be a little more earthy. Now it makes me feel like I want to wear organic clothes or eat organic food or go to a festival or go to nature. I think I might want to meditate on a mountain or in trees. It's like, or under a tree. So it's like naturally we're thinking about cleansing. We're thinking about purification. So that's kind of our natural tendency, I think. I don't know if you all can relate to something like that. But it's interesting how that correlates with this chakra journey. This is the chakra of water, so it can be like the chakra of purification, like a baptism. You know, why do the Catholic Church, or many Christian denominations, will baptize with water, with holy water? Water is purifying. So, okay, so then this is kind of where we're at here in the journey. Is like we need to sort of cleanse in order to do this journey well. Like he said, you can't get up here if you're pillaging and plundering. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of like a nice way to think about it as far as the spirit of it. But now we'll get into, and actually let's chat a little bit more before we talk about the brittis, the individual emotions that are located in this chakra. One last quick thought on the things that have to do with water and liquids. So, for example, each of these chakras can be strengthened. Last time we talked about that, how to strengthen each chakra. We said that you can strengthen the chakras by doing asanas. Okay? We can strengthen the Muladhara chakra by doing asanas, like if you do this asana here, or you're just kind of reaching out for the toes, okay? That one strengthens this lower seat, okay? So you strengthen that chakra by doing an asana like this. You can strengthen this chakra by doing an asana. There's several you can do, but one is yoga mudra. So yoga mudra is one where you take your left hand, you put it behind you. Some of you who are sitting like me right now can try it if you want. Take the right hand, put it over the left wrist, and then you just bend forward and hinging at the hip and trying to touch the forehead to the floor if you can. If not, it's okay. Don't worry about that. But the point is that you're bending forward. So you would breathe in and exhale, coming down. Hold for 8 seconds. And then breathe in as you come back up. And as you're doing that asana, you might visualize that you are working this chakra. Okay? So you might be able to visualize that. And
Use the right hand to grab the left wrist.
Yes, the right hand grabs the left wrist, okay? So this seat, if you notice, as you're bending forward like this, then what is happening is you're working this glandular area. You're sending blood to this area where this chakra is located. So that asana, for example, really helps to strengthen this chakra. And there are others, okay? But so you want to strengthen these chakras because if they control, for example, things like lymph, things like blood, things like reproductive fluids, then strengthening this chakra will help you with those areas of life for health reasons.
So, for example, like speaking about women, like menstruation, so that would help for cramps?
Yes, absolutely. So try it.
But not while you're menstruating.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I mean, it could help if you keep doing it.
Exactly. During menstruation, it's not recommended, according to philosophy, for women to do asanas. But yes, other than that, then strengthening this Svadhistana Chakra will help to reduce cramps. So it's something that you can experiment with. Some women that I know learned this and then tried it, did asanas every day, and when also focused on this chakra, and they noticed that their cramps went away. So this chakra then is helpful for boosting those areas. And I'm going to tell you a rumor. Can't tell you if this is true or not, okay? Because I wouldn't know. It's hard to prove something scientifically, right? But a rumor is that since this, maybe it's because it has to do with fluids, if you are strengthening this chakra, it makes you more beautiful. So the people that have this Svadhistana Chakra very, very developed, very balanced, the physical beauty comes out.
Like your luster in your hair and your skin, like your prana
Like vibrant.
probably is stronger.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Can you strengthen this chakra just by doing exercise?
By doing the asanas, the yoga postures?
Yeah. Or any other activity, like exercise, go to gym.
It's possible, right? That regular exercise is
Sometimes
more-
I notice when I do exercise, I feel more balanced. Like, yeah.
Mhm,
Maybe
okay.
because of
Feel
that.
more handsome.
I'm not
When I exercise, I feel more
At least.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Right?
So maybe it's just because of that.
Yeah. Like when we exercise, we sweat.
Yeah.
Some people don't find that attractive, somebody sweaty, but it's kind of cleansing, actually. Kind of.
It's what attracts because you give off your
Pheromones.
Okay. So we notice a lot of these connections. All right. So the Svadhisthana Chakra, if strengthened, it can help with these things. It's also the chakra of sort of sex, right? So if this chakra is strengthened, then we have a healthy reproductive system. And so it can help in terms of fertility to sort of work this chakra and things like that. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the vritis. So some of those things are kind of the good news, right? Kind of the good news. But then, if this chakra is not balanced, then we will be in these vritis, in these emotional propensities. So let's go ahead and start with Abhigina. Everybody see that one? Abhigina. So Abhigina means belittlement of others. So we can write that down. Yeah, it's like the Trump. It's just the Trump chakra. No. This is Abhigina, because Trump is known to be a bully, right? And his wife. Apparently, according to her, she's the most bullied person in the world. Have you seen that interview? I'm sorry, we're bringing up the T word and stuff like that, but it's connected to this. She said that she is the most bullied person in the world. I mean, and I saw some commentators say, well, really, like aren't there children right now at the border who are parentless? What kind of bullying are they going through by the whole United States government, Anyways, so this vritti, Abhigina, means belittlement of others. And so whenever you are belittling somebody else, or whenever you are experiencing something related to that emotion, you are in that vritti. Okay? Now, I'm going to pause here and mention one other thing. This chakra is also associated with reptiles. In fact, in Kaujika Mata Tantra, there's an ancient text called the Kaujika Mata Tantric text. In that book, they showed the chakras with the vrittis, okay? And inside of each chakra, they have put some deities. And also they put an animal. And the animal that is represented for this chakra is called Makara. And it means sea monster. And yes?
So what was is there a animal associated with the chakra that we learned last?
Yes, the animal associated with the Muladhara chakra is the elephant. And that kind of makes sense, right? The elephant is like such a base animal, right? It's almost like a table, like it's so even, solid.
So is that
Solid on the earth, like the Muladhara chakra.
do they come up with the association with the animal?
That's a good question.
Excellent question. But right now we're going to kind of, I mean, we just kind of gave connections, like think of the elephant, how solid it is, how connected it is to the earth. Now, we just said that it's a sea monster here. So, but let's put that into, and let's define that. Think of a crocodile. Think of a crocodile. That's kind of like the sea monster that you'll see in the images. Okay? So it means then that these emotions are a lot like the emotions of a reptile, a lot like the emotions of a crocodile. Yes?
Is it like the reptilian people? Is that where they come from? From that chakra? Like, so they're like, their behavior is like based on.
And what do you mean exactly by reptilian people? Because I'm agreeing with you, but I'd like you to define that just a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a controversial belief, but supposedly there are these beings that are called reptilians that take human forms. They could look like humans if you see them, but they're not quite humans, and they're from another place.
I've heard that.
And they have they're called reptilians because they have very reptilian qualities. So probably like whatever reptilian qualities mean is related to the qualities of this chakra. It's probably.
I've heard that. I've heard that the way they sort of like take possession of people by locking into those first two chakras.
Yeah.
It's easier for them. They exist like at a hair difference of a frequency from us. But I've read this book called Prometheus Rising. I think it's very interesting because the author tried to compare the chakra system with the development of the brain, and sort of comparing each part of the brain with the subsequent chakra.
Uh-huh.
And so the brain it's interesting because right after the brain stem, which was the first one, was the reptilian brain, which is the second part of the brain that developed right after the brain stem. So I think it's interesting that the reptilian brain is right there at the base, close to where the second chakra is,
right,
in terms of the systems.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
So, okay, so that movie Men in Black is a lot more like reality than.
This chakra has to do more with survival, procreation, right?
Yes.
Territory.
Yeah.
Reptilian
like
things.
instinct.
Procreation, that's true, and survival, well, yes.
Instinct. Like, I guess, like, if, like, a reptile isn't, like, I guess it's not conscious like we're conscious, so, like...
A reptile, yes, is very cruel.
Right, like, so they just rely on instinct, and so if we don't, like, tend to our second chakra, then we can just be, like, we're relying on instinct and not really being human.
Yes. We can be like a reptile. We might be like one of these reptilian people.
Well, to speak on Nicole's point real quick, I read Carl Sagan's book. I forgot what it was called, but he talks about that very same thing. He talks about how like people think that there's this reptilian race, but that it's a sort of projection of the human psyche to express that reptilian part of your brain. So there's no reptilian race. It's a projection, like how Carl Jung said that aliens are a projection of the human psyche, of like where we want to go one day. That's why they look sort of humanoid, but they don't have like genitalia, because they're a projection of our psyche into the future, and that reptilians are the same thing.
Okay.
Just
Very
to-
interesting connections and stories. Okay. So then we're going to see the connection with reptiles and these britis. All right. So so we have Avigina. I think somebody just drew a reptile next to their paper. There we go.
Is that not?
Point made. Okay, point made. Thank you. So, next one. Let's go on to the next one. The next one is murcha. Murcha means lack of common sense.
Ooh, it's like a crocodile.
Yeah. Lack of common sense. Now, let's expand that a little more. When somebody has lack of common sense, sometimes it means that person's a little not too smart.
Ignorant.
A little ignorant, a little dull.
Airheaded, maybe.
Okay? A little dull. Like, for example, if you look at an alligator, you look at a crocodile, sometimes it's...
Oh my god!
It's just there. You look at it, you're like, Is it alive?
Hello.
You know, have you ever seen a little reptile, like a little lizard or something? Sometimes it's also like, and after like 10 minutes, it just moves its eyes, and then it's there again, and it's like, it's almost like it just has pure lack of common sense. Like it's almost like a dummy, like a vegetable. Okay.
Lack of
Yes.
common.
Doesn't the word Murcia mean like lack of consciousness, though? Like lack of conscious thought?
Yeah. The translations are can be a little, could vary a little. Lack of common sense, lack of conscious thought. Okay? So, exactly. And we see that in reptiles. And we see that in ourselves. And we see it connected sometimes to sex. I'm about to make a connection. Sometimes when people have too much physical desire, they become like dummies.
Oh, yeah, love is blinding.
You ever seen, yes, love is blinding. Okay? I'm so in love with this person. They turn me on so much that all my, that has to do with this chakra. This chakra also has like love. But I'm so, let's say, enamored.
Passion.
Well, let me say this. Have you ever seen a man who is looking at a woman who's walking by?
Like a reptile.
Yeah, no common sense.
And he looks, like he's just, it's like he has no clue that he's in public or that he's being invasive.
Watching.
But he's just like, it's almost like in that moment he's totally has lost his common sense, and he's very stimulated in this area that has to do with these liquids, with these things, the urinary area, exactly. So then the genital area, and so there's kind of a connection there, and that was a beautiful connection. Sometimes we are blind in love, we don't see things. We might be thinking, we're thinking down there where we have lack of common sense. Okay, so let's go on to the next one, prasraya. Prasraya means indulgence. Okay, prasraya, indulgence. Do you need a pen?
Oh, that'd be great. You read
There
my
you
mind.
go. So prasraya means indulgence. And with indulgence, that can mean a number of things. I can think of the last time that I... Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
I can think of...
my mind.
I can think of the last time that I had some indulgence. It was just the other night. I knew I shouldn't have eaten that last mochi. Thanks to our sister Jayati here, who one night brought mochis. Have you had those?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's eyes got wide. These Korean ice creams, right?
They're Japanese.
Japanese,
Oh,
I apologize. Sorry, Korea. I meant Japan. Okay, so yes, that night, I knew I shouldn't have had any more of those, but I went ahead and had one more. I was indulging. I had the chocolate, and then the next morning I woke up and I realized, my food still hasn't digested. I'm never doing that again. I'm never going to eat late again, blah, blah, blah. Because I don't like waking up feeling like my stomach is still trying to process food when I'm trying to meditate, but now I have to deal with that. So, anyways, indulgence, that's a very PG version of what indulgence means. All right? You can probably already think of indulgence that has to do with this chakra, that also has to do with a reptile,
Oh yeah, like a snake would just eat a whole huge thing. Like those big pythons will eat like a whole baby calf and just keep it all there. They don't save it for later or anything. They just swallow it whole.
Exactly.
They don't have any refrigerators either.
No.
Exactly. Have you seen? Thank you, Marco. A snake will try to eat something that is twice as big as its head, like an ostrich egg.
Like an elephant. There was, or is that a book? Yeah, right? It's a little bit what they ask.
Hey, yeah. I mean, remember in The Little Prince, a boa constrictor that eats an elephant? The Little Prince was showing everybody that image, or the guy who meets the Little Prince. Actually, today maybe I'll share a quote from The Little Prince. Maybe we can close with that if I can find it. But yeah, so a snake will has that sort of indulgence. Okay, All right, let's keep going. Let's talk about avishvasa. Avishvasa means lack of confidence. Okay, lack of confidence. So, sometimes we have obviously some lack of confidence.
Confidence?
Yes, we are insecure. We're like lack of confidence. We can spend a whole class talking about that, right? Like part of the reasons why we are not doing what we'd like to be doing is because we feel insecure. There are some people that are so insecure that they believe that everybody is talking about them, is criticizing them. If you meet somebody who's very insecure, if you encourage them to try and strengthen this chakra, they might see a difference. This is the chakra of insecurity. We also tend to have a lot of shame and insecurity around sex, right? And so we kind of see a connection there as well. And when we feel insecure, have you ever heard somebody say, "Oh my God, I got so scared I almost peed my pants"? You ever heard that expression?
Yeah.
Peed my pants. That has to do with liquids. All right? This is the chakra of liquids. Just the fact that we can verbalize something in that way, means it shows that our minds are connected with these chakras. All right? So, just like later we'll talk about fear. That is in the Manipura chakra, and so is anger. And sometimes when I feel angry, I feel it right here. Boom! Something kicks like a baby. I feel it right here. And when we have lack of confidence, we may also feel something down here in the Svadhistana Chakra. Okay? So avishvasa means lack of confidence. And I guess we should finish these, and then we're going to talk about sort of the positive sides to these, because it's also important to talk about these vrittis and see their positive angle. Let's finish with this negative. We'll do something, and then we'll go back and talk about a positive things about each vritti. Then there's sarvanasha. Sarvanasha means thoughts of pure annihilation. Thoughts of pure annihilation. The feeling of annihilating something, or the feeling of being annihilated. So, sometimes some people can fear for their lives, right? Can fear, and we see, and we can also kind of see this in like a crocodile. One time we went to see a crocodile show in Florida, and and then we saw the tamers, the ones who train the crocodiles, right? They live with them, they train them, they feed them. They always do a show. If you go to the wetlands and you can catch a crocodile show, alligator show, and they do this test where they put their hand, right? They put their hand near the crocodile, and the crocodile, of course, is still. It doesn't move. Right? It's not like it's starstruck or anything. A lot of times it can be that way. But then it's like it just goes boom, right? Right? It just like opens and shuts its, like with a complete set instinct for annihilation. It just wants to, it doesn't hesitate at all. And it's very point blank. I open and I close, right? So we can kind of see that sort of sentiment there, And I don't know if somebody is in a battlefield. If somebody's in a battlefield and they're fighting an enemy, how is it that we see that human beings have done so much pillage, so much plunder in foreign lands, like the colonizers, the conquistadors, and even today, imperialist governments that go to other countries and kill, right? So that sort of fierce-like attitude, that warlike attitude, is here. It is in this sense of total annihilation. You might say to yourself, I've never experienced that. I've never done that. But if you are a mother and maybe you're trying to defend your child, you might also need to go and, take on this instinct to protect your child.
Like impulsive.
Yes. These are all impulses. And so that is the impulse for like total annihilation. And then, now there we've just kind of talked about a positive side. We could have just said, ooh, sarvanasa, bad, that's like, wanting to kill, etc. But we just saw a positive side to it. I mean, what if we're also an oppressed, yes?
Survival.
Exactly. What if we need to survive and we have to kill to survive? What if we are being oppressed and we have to rise up, So then, boom, thanks to that chakra, we have the impulse to do that. Okay? It has its bad sides, but each of these vrittis, I forgot to do that. From the beginning, we should have been discussing the good sides of each.
Can it also be like, instead of, like, not that, I'm sorry, I don't know how to put it in words. So we're talking like about killing, but instead of killing, would it be like more like, just like stand up for myself, not that violent, just like, oh, I'm gonna say something to that bully, or I'm going to just stand up for myself and just protect myself, but not in a violent way.
Yes, I think that can be connected to that.
I guess that would be the controlling of it, right? Like you tame it.
But that's
Yes.
still,
It's there either way.
that's still survival. That's still survival. Like you're standing up to something like that. I'm a Marine, and yeah, I've been trained, and it's very instinctual, and like, I mean, like it's just muscle memory. Like we do it over and over and over again, and it's just like when you have to do it, it's just like natural, and it's like, it's not. There's no thought process behind it. It's just like, it's muscle memory.
Do what?
Kill somebody.
I mean, like to that extent.
Disarm.
I mean, but like where, like everything, placement, like where you should be, like you run as a team, so it's like everyone has their own little job, and like, my life is in your hands, your life is in my hands. So if we don't run as a unit, like, but this is going more like military, but it's still survival. You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone bullying you, like, taking your lunch money or whatever it is, like, sometimes anyone gets, like, enough is enough, I'm just going to punch you in the mouth.
Yeah.
And we're going to see what happens afterwards.
Right.
But I think that's what.
So that's what she was saying.
I think that's what this, because these prittis exist there either way. So it's not that you are supposed to like give into it or control it. I mean, the point is to control it.
Yeah, because
so
you have it for a reason. Like,
so you have it, yeah, but you don't go and attack them. You're able to control yourself and take that middle way, sort of, so you can say something with stern words. Instead of using the sword, you use the pen.
Yeah. Okay. I like your point too. If you're standing up to a bully, it's like the opposite of avigina, like belittlement of others. Like, I will not let you belittle me. So in a way, there's a connection there. So like, if I'm controlling avigina, means I don't belittle others and I don't let others belittle me. So, and you'll find that many vrittis, many emotions work together to create these different actions, like what you described, standing up to somebody. Just like many vrittis can work together to create an instinct for survival, like Edwin was talking about. So, and this is also reminding me, sometimes a military force has to use a lot of these tactics, right? Has to belittle the enemy, has to, and has to gain confidence, and lack of confidence is here, and
Common sense.
Yeah.
You definitely need that.
So, right. Okay, let's keep going. So the last one is krurata. And krurata is easy to remember because it means cruelty. Okay, cruelty. So as if they weren't bad enough, now we're at cruelty. And going back to the crocodile or alligator example, you know, sometimes these guys that tame the crocodiles and the alligators, they feed them, they love them, they take care of them. Of course, they use them to put them on exhibition, but sometimes they don't care, and they'll bite them, they'll eat them. You know, some of these reptilian animals, they have no remorse whatsoever. They're cold-blooded, right? They have no remorse. There's no sense of. You could argue that many animals
They're
are
not
like that.
domesticated.
all-
They don't
yeah.
have like relationship with humans.
They're no dog.
Yeah.
It's all
Right.
instinctual. Like alligators,
Yes.
they have like little hairs, right, on like everywhere, and it's like really. So if they feel like sweat, or they smell it, like it's not like really like they have this like sight, right? They
Right.
just like feel it, like
sense
something's in their mouth, and it's just like it's feeding
Yes.
time.
Right. Exactly.
It's not like, oh, I'm gonna do a trick, and they know like it's a trick. They're animals.
They have no common
It's
sense.
instinctual. It's
Yes.
not like I'm not playing. Like, see, that's where human beings don't use common sense and like make animals into like, oh, let's make tricks with animals. Like, no, it's an animal. Like, it doesn't know tricks. Like, you're playing the trick, but they don't know it's a trick.
Yeah. I
But
like
some
that
animals
point.
are more like have more of a bond with humans. So that's like
Yeah.
reptiles, I guess specifically.
It also
Yeah.
depends how humans treat the domestic animals.
Yeah, like
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a woman who had a snake around her. There are people who have snakes, right? They have nice big, for lack of a better word, snakes. They train them, they pet them. Yeah, we've seen that. We've seen that.
I don't know, I guess it's a rumor too, but I'm realizing but like there was a Facebook story where there was like this woman and she had a pet snake, and the pet snake started just like it was boa constrictor, and it was really large, and it started like cuddling up to her more and more. And she was like, she took it to the vet because she was like, I don't know why my pet has its behavior's changed, like it's starting to like, I guess she thought it was like getting a
Being
relationship.
affectionate.
Yeah. And then the vet was like, actually, he's like sizing you up because he wants to eat you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I mean,
that's
and
so
the picture,
sad.
the picture was her in the bed with like the boa constrictor. They were like cuddling. Yeah.
That's funny.
Right. So you know what? A snake sometimes will eat its own eggs, its own
Oh
offspring.
my gosh.
Yeah. So these animals can be super cruel. And do you know human beings like this?
Yeah.
That are very cruel,
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
very, very cruel.
Yeah.
I know human beings like this too, and they're elected for office. You know.
Girl.
And so then the thing is that these Britis, they represent, like we said, sort of the darker aspects of ourselves. But you are only going to behave like this if you have this chakra out of balance. And so we need to keep this chakra in balance. This is, for example, the chakra of, so in other words, it's a holistic process. We keep this chakra in balance by trying to control our emotions, doing asanas, trying to think higher, trying to preserve ourselves too. We can't indulge. You know, you lose yourself when you indulge too much in anything. Too much drinking, too much of this, too much of that. You name it. If you indulge in that, it's like you lose yourself. You know what I mean? So.
What about meditation? That
Okay.
one's indulging.
That one.
Indulging in meditation?
Yeah.
Okay, now that one, let's talk about that for a second.
That's your vice.
So, is it possible to indulge in too much meditation? It can be. There are some schools of yoga that say, for example, this world is an illusion. It's an illusion. It doesn't matter. You know, all that matters is that you become self-realized. But in Tantra, you know, we don't believe in that. We believe that we need to become self-realized, and at the same time, we need to do service to the world. So we can't just go to a cave and and put ourselves there and just meditate and just think about ourselves and just try to get enlightened, or just do our meditation. And if we do too much meditation but not enough service, we're also creating a problem.
Well, if you're meditating and your house is super dirty, and you have guests over, or like instead of meditating, or instead of doing what you need to do, like studying, instead of studying, you meditate and you fail your test. You know,
Or
meditating
like,
is great and all. Yeah, exactly. It just makes sense.
Right.
Okay. So I think meditation would be the good side if you want to, like,
Sure.
like you went to a place where a silent retreat where they did meditation for 3 hours twice a day.
No,
or something.
6 hours. Well, yeah, it wasn't. It was many sessions, but 6 hours total a day. So
Yeah. So something like that can be a nice experience to go deeper. But I think you can indulge in a way if you are just being too self-centered. Think of how yoga is very self-centered these days. All those images of people doing yoga. Oh, I'm so beautiful. Oh, I can do yoga like this, and I'm on a, I can do yoga like that, and that's kind of aligned with the self-absorption that actually classical yoga has hints of, because some of it says, don't worry about the world, just think about you, just try to become enlightened. But we don't believe that. In our philosophy, we don't subscribe to that.
But we are in the world.
But
We are in the world. That's why we're at the library doing meditation.
I
Yes?
guess.
you can talk.
Jayati wanted to say something too. Jayati? No? Okay.
No, yeah. I mean, of course, it's good to do service, and that's also really important. But if someone was just meditating all day, wouldn't they also be helping the world in some way? Because they would be having they would be spreading better energy than if they were just thinking horrible thoughts and spreading that energy. So it's a better effect on everyone else rather than if they were just doing horrible things all day.
Yeah.
True, but in Buddhism, you meditate and you try to get enlightened to help others become enlightened.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's not for yourself. You don't
Bodhisattva.
become
Yeah,
enlightened
exactly.
for yourself. There's always something outside of yourself, something a lot bigger than yourself.
That's the base of a lot of every self-help, everything. You always say you always start with yourself. If you can work on yourself, then you'll be in a better place to help others.
Well, you ever heard? Sometimes I look on Facebook, and some people say they write on Facebook. They're like, "Pray for me, pray for me, fam. I'm going through this. I'm going through that, Or sometimes people will write, if there's a hurricane, they say, sending thoughts and prayers to Houston.
No, but it's like the Care Bears.
Sending thoughts and prayers to North Carolina, right? And if you look at something like that, sometimes it makes you also want to go well, first of all, let me say this. If I ever need help, okay, please don't pray for me, okay? Come help me, okay? If I need your help because I'm at home and I have some disease or I have some ailment or I can't move or something, please don't send me your thoughts and prayers. Please bring your physical bodies to my house, lift me up, feed me, do whatever you need to do. Please do something.
But
Okay?
if you can't,
So,
there is a power.
so in the same way, if we try to fool ourselves, one time there was also a man that was taking people to Iraq and trying to meditate nearby to bring some positive energy to the conflict there. And it just and so then I realized, okay, well, who can do that? Well, mainly a lot of rich people that have the money and have the luxury to go and fly abroad and not work, take
and
time
not
off
have
work,
to feed themselves.
and and just try to meditate for a week and staying at a. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's better things that we can do to help the world. Yes, I agree with Nicole. If one person in one house meditates, it can change. That house will be improved. She's absolutely right. If you in your houses that meditate, if just you meditate every day, you will create a positive vibration in your house. I totally agree with that. But you should also do something.
Like clean that house.
Like, yeah, okay? Do something. Okay. Let's briefly sum up and then we'll close. Let's go over, let's scan through these Vritis one more time. Does anybody have any questions on any of these?
I guess so. We didn't go over all of them positively.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. If we scan them and so, let's see, prashraya, indulgence. Sometimes you want to indulge in a little meditation, so you'll go to a nice retreat. It's kind of a positive side there. Or you want to indulge in some service. That can be good. If you're going to indulge in something, you might as well indulge in something good.
Positive, yeah.
Okay, so yes, we can use that for our benefit. Lack of confidence. Sometimes if you have a presentation, right, and you don't feel confident, oh my God, I feel like everybody's going to laugh at me or I'm not prepared. So that lack of confidence will then motivate you to do what?
Better.
To prepare, to study. So whenever you have a fear of public speaking or something, that might be that vritti, lack of confidence. But then that vritti can motivate you to get confident, to gain the knowledge you need so you can say the right thing, you know what I mean? Or practice in advance. Thanks to that vritti, you'll know you have a little problem you need to solve. You need to gain some confidence.
So that vritti, so if you're confident, it's not being like resonated or like activated because it's the propensity for the lack of confidence?
It's the propensity for the lack of confidence, but yes, it's also connected with confidence.
Okay.
If you control that vritti, you will be confident.
There you go. Yeah, makes sense.
Yes?
It's like a little signal.
Yeah.
It's like if you're listening to the signal, then you can do something about it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Instead of just like letting it overcome you and not doing anything.
And you grow.
You know, in dreams, you ever had a dream where you're naked?
No.
I haven't.
That-
I hear that all the time.
Or a dream where you're in the shower and people are looking at you? Okay, I just said too much. I've had dreams like that. I said too much. But those dreams mean lack of confidence. And if you look them up in the classic dream books, you might find something like that. But think about what that means. Basically, you're exposed. Exposing, let's say, the genital area. That's where you feel the most naked. You know what I mean? Some people can show their legs, can show their chest, but if showing that part is, if you go to a nudist beach, your first day you might be a little not so confident because this area is exposed. This chakra is exposed. Okay? Yes.
Is there any way to keep these chakras in balance just by concentrating your mind, your thoughts? Because it's too much information, right? So you think you have to keep that in mind. Too many.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. This is a good reference for you to take home the next time you feel stuff and say, what chakra is that?
Yeah.
If I'm feeling angry, if I'm feeling jealous, what chakra is that? If I'm feeling lack of confidence, okay, let me try an asana that can, and I'll send this out to you all, the different yoga postures that can boost these chakras. If you, every day you do yoga, and you try to target asanas that will hit all chakras in a specific way, you might see a change in your life. You'll be more balanced. Okay? Your hormones will also be more balanced because that asanas help to promote the secretion of hormones in these endocrine glands.
And those, really reflect all of this, like fight or flight, right? Like, I guess lack of, it's like a reptile brain, like it's an instinct, right?
Yes.
So you're not.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's go ahead and close and end on that note that we should strengthen our chakras. Okay, strengthen our chakras in the different ways that we can.
Just the last question. So in the cruelty, so you
Something positive?
just be kind. Is there cruel?
What do you all think? What is one way that cruelty can be positive?
You see cruelty in the world, and so you're motivated to do something about it, to change, almost. Or you see the propensity for your own cruelty to treat someone, to belittle someone, or be cruel to them, and so you don't like that part of yourself. So you're moved to change, to work on yourself, to not do that in the future, maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
Okay.
I think also like setting boundaries can sometimes feel cruel, but it's like
Mhm.
something that you have to do to respect yourself and not belittle yourself or others.
Excellent example. Yes. Sometimes you have to be a little cut and dry to set a boundary. That's a wonderful example. Yes.
I mean, for me, the word kind of translates more to like ruthlessness, kind of like not having that
Yeah.
like blocks towards going out and doing something. So in that way, I guess whenever you have to make like a difficult decision or like choose the lesser evil, kind of just
Yeah.
even being able to like stick with it, I guess is part of it.
Okay. Exactly. Yeah, I think I see how that's definitely connected here. Okay. So let's go ahead and close. So thank you everybody for coming to Vistara Circle. We'd love to see you next week here in person so you can meditate with us, sing kirtan with us, have food with us, and talk in person with us about the Manipura chakra, the third chakra. So, Namaskar.